For me, everything is material.
Yeah.
Like I do it. Like I take my time. Everything is material and everything is timing.
Yeah.
Everything has time. There's always time to do what's important, right?
Yeah.
So if I can't perform, not because I don't want to perform, it's because like there is no like opportunity for me to perform because of the situation. But that's why we'd be like, okay, we're gonna get it online. But then I enjoy more producing. I like that, not being able, like not being sure if it's gonna work, and then it works. I like that.
Yeah.
Like I like that when I'm not sure, like how is it gonna work. I like that stuff.
Is that how you feel about your content or your comedy as well?
Yeah, because this is the thing, yeah. Captain Khalid as a name, it's already like I'm in a good space, right? Like I sell out my shows anywhere I want to go. I don't have a management. I do everything on my own with my people, whatever.
Nice.
And at the same time, there's this like they say Hamburg International Comedy, which is also like it's going on its own. Like it's the biggest actually showcase, English showcase in Germany. Nobody's doing numbers like we do. Yeah. So and we want to be the biggest either way. Like one of the names in Europe, right? You say Poland, whatever, and it's moving, right? But at the same time, is what makes it fun is we did 30, then we went 70, and you're like, hey, let's go for 300, and then you just go for it. Sometimes we say we're gonna do 1,000, and then you do 1,000, and you say only 300, and you're like, and then you start again. You know, it's nice to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Like so, that's what we always do. Like if what is the point of doing something like same way? The thing is, you just master the basic. You do everything like the same, basically, but even on a larger scale. So we grow. So most people they want to be comfortable. You know, you get 50 people, and you're like, people come 50, and then 50. Eventually, you're gonna say, as comedians, don't make money because it's only 50, and then people are donating. Yes, they're donating because you can charge. You know your art. You gotta know the price of your art. You don't sleep. You think too much. You become depressed. Why can't you give your art price? You want people to donate. Or tell me what you think. No, I tell you what I think.
Ooh.
You know, this is the amount. So, and sometimes people can be like, oh no, nobody's gonna pay for this type of art. Listen, there's 80 million people in Germany. In Hamburg, there's what, 3, 5, 4 million people? And you wanna tell me 200 people can pay for something? Even if it's $50, you have 200 people in 4 million. Come on now, you have to move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is what I like when I'm like, there's an opportunity somewhere, and I'm gonna find it. And there's no like, there's this thing. Oh, we are black. We don't have opportunities. We don't have this, which I know is there. But at the same time, I'm like, we get paid according to the value you bring. So, because for me, what comes in my head is like, back in the 18th century, like in the 1900s, where like black people in America were slaves, basically. You know what I mean? Like, okay, they just came out of the slavery in their time and the racism to the max, right? And then Madam C.J. Walker, who's the first, female, millionaire, she was black. And this is the time where Rockefeller was, the richest man.
Yeah.
And C.J. Walker. And what was she selling? Hair products. To who? To have, people.
Yeah.
And then she started saloons, just seeing that opportunity. And then eventually she was the neighbor of John D. Rockefeller. And this is a time when there's racism, where people can't sit behind the back of black people sit at the back of the car. But how did she see that opportunity?
It is strange that I keep hearing that a lot, that African Americans, some of them, or they as a group did better in those times where it was harder. Like you had a lot more racism, a lot more segregation and stuff. But hey, you had something called Black Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly, right.
That's crazy, huh?
So it's just like sometimes, you just have to see. Because sometimes, you deserve to be in a place and definitely they're going to push me down. So it means you got to put, if you have to be twice as good, then that's what it takes.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as luck. Oh man, that person is lucky. He's the only black mayor. No, man, lucky is when preparation meets opportunity. She's there because she's been working her ass out, knowing the law, pushing, and then the opportunity came through. We're looking for a person who has qualification. Oh, this one. Oh, person's lucky. People say a person goes viral. He just did his one song. No, A person been singing his ass for all these years. You just saw him now. That's why he's good. That's why he's going viral. It's just preparation has met the opportunity. And when sometimes you go to something and it don't work, sometimes they'll block you. You have to have like this, the mindset, like a broad mindset, you know, like there's everything for everybody, no matter how much they're going to tight. If they block you on this opportunity, that's not for you.
Yeah.
If you believe in God, that was not written for you. And it's good that as a block is broken because the better is on the other side. So keep moving. If you give up, you won't get it. You get me?
Sure.
So
Makes sense.
the more you find your niche and the more you can actually be different, because now you don't have to do everything everybody's doing, the more you can do something different and now bring value to the marketplace. That's what people pay for. Can you make 10 euros an hour while can you make 1 million an hour when another person is making 10 euros? Yes. But what's the difference between the two? One either is doing more, you know, than what others are doing, or he knows more than what everybody's knowing. So what do you want to do? Know more or do both? That's the value. So I think once we think past that, you know, eventually that's how we're going to help ourselves as Black people. You know, like there is an opportunity somewhere. And we're like the artist of the world. So we can always like do something. And instead of just complaining, take that as a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not a fair space out here.
True. But to what you just said about opportunities and how we can get further further as Black people, I'm on the same page with you, because it's like there's history, there's like systems or system in place that makes it more difficult for us, which is the truth. But on the other side, it's just what you said. It's like, I think there's always going to be something that's going to stop you from getting where you want to go. Like whether it's you're a Black person or if you're a woman or if you're gay or whatever, there's always going to be an obstacle. So at some point you have to get past that. It's just because I'm this or that, because it's not going to help you. And in regards to like the entertainment industry, especially in Germany, because there's like a whole conversation going on about opportunities in music where rappers or Black musicians, I wouldn't say they just complain, but they want to raise awareness to the fact that, hey, we are Black people making music and our music is as good as anyone's. And we are the only ones who are not going to like benefit from it, which is strange because it's kind of our art form and everyone is participating in that art form, which is fine. But how come that we are the only ones that are not benefiting from all of it? And you said something very interesting about putting a value onto your art, because I believe personally that we kind of sell ourselves short. Where it's like, say for example, if you go to a Steuerberater, what is it called in English?
Like tax office.
Tax officer. It's like, you know, when you go to that tax office that you have to pay a fee. It's non-negotiable. You have to pay. So you would never go to someone like a tax officer and expect him to do something for free. But with us, it seems sometimes like we're willing to do stuff for free that we shouldn't. Or it's like, rather than saying, hey, what I just did for you, how about you give me some money for that? The price is, say, 20 euros. You're like, that's fine. Next time, maybe.
And
it's like...
then it blows up.
So like, sometimes like we have to like, I would say stand our ground and not be like, okay, you gave me at least something, so I'm happy with what you just gave me. And let's go from there. Sometimes we have to say even like, no. That's the price. Like, even if like, you like go to a car dealership, try to go to Mercedes and be like, okay, the car is 60,000. Yeah, I just have 5.
You can't.
You see? So, and I think that's how we have to be with our art and what we do, or not just art, like everything that we bring to the table, whether it's like a product, art, or service. We have to be like, hey, there's like a reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing. You can call it luck, but I had to do research, or maybe I had to go through something myself. Like maybe I was overweight and I had to like go through certain things to get to the body that I have right now. And now I'm selling that program. And that program is going to cost you money. I'm not doing it for free. And then some people are going to be like, you said, oh, that's so expensive. I don't think anyone is going to pay.
Then you're not a buyer.
Exactly. So then you have to be like, okay, then don't take it. Fine. Find someone else who's going to do it for free. And I'm sure you won't find that person. So I think that's the kind of attitude that we have to have in regards to what we bring to the table to get further.
Yeah, and the thing is, speaking of the table, actually, you can never be afraid to eat alone if you know what you can bring on the table. It's very important. And we have to know you can't beat the system. Like the system, you can't beat it. You're not gonna beat the system because this system has been engineered for you. You cannot beat the system, but you can learn the system and find loopholes and work with it. You know what I mean? Like, for example, we might be like, I have my art, you know, like I have my music. For example, I'm doing music, right, on the low, right? So they say for me, music to blow up, maybe I need to get signed or something, right? But then signing, and then that's when, you know, I can get good production, then whatever, they'll push the label, will push me. But then what is the label having that I don't have?
Yeah.
You know, they have microphone, studio, everything. Do I have a friend who have a studio? Okay, can I record the same quality? Great, and I have them. Now, once I get the songs, where do they want to put them? On Spotify or anything? I can put on Spotify or anything. Cool. And then now that I'm doing this job that I'm working, I think I'm going to look for marketing opportunities. I'm going to get $5,000. I'm going to push some of my songs. You have to believe in your art. And then when I push in this, $5,000, a person push for me, whatever. And then in the streams, I'm going to get my money. Once I make my money, now I'm going to build up my whatever thing. So the thing is, maybe we should stop trying to get things quicker. You know what I mean? You know, like we shouldn't, you know, you have, everything is a process.
Yes.
And it has to be hard. Being a millionaire, it's very, 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 very easy.
Being one?
Yeah. Being a big musician, very easy. Being a comedian, very easy. Not simple. Very easy. Not simple.
Explain that.
So it's like, for example, how do I make $1 million? Right? I just need to make like what? $25,000 a month? No, $75,000 a month. Even 25 times 12 is already $1 million, I think. That's 25. Yeah. Actually, 15,000 euros times 12, that's $1 million already. You know what I mean? So how much do I need to sell to make 15 grand a month? And then you'll be like, maybe I need to sell, maybe that's 15 times, divided by 30, that's 5K at least a week or something. And you'll be like, okay, 5K. What do I have to do to get 5K? Okay, I need to go this place, this place, this place. Okay, so you start going this place, they'll be like, no. And then you refuse, no. And you'll be like, man, maybe I over like planned. Maybe I should lower down. But then at the point is, then you ask yourself, where else do I have to go? Yeah. I've gone to 10 houses. Can I go to 20 more? Can I go to 30 more? You go to you do more because you know more. So you keep on going. And then it might take you, this year you might never make $1 million if you wanted to. But the more you keep trying, you're going to learn things. You're going to be like, okay, now people here in this place, they don't like talking to us. But how can I talk to him? Because everything has a price. You just have to know it. What can I put there? If it's this, what? How? Like it's chess basically. And then you keep doing the same thing. Because if you have a dream, like for example, I want to have the biggest podcast. You're gonna think podcast. You're gonna eat podcast. Like you're eating. You're there. This idea of podcast. Anything you see is just an idea of that thing.
Yeah.
And then I can do this. And then now you do this. You do a mistake. You'll be like, okay, this mistake solved. Anything that comes ahead, you learn. And then 5 years along the line, you've been doing the same thing, but now it's so complex with results. But when people ask you, you're like, no, it's easy. You just have to The person will say, yeah, it sounds easy the way you say it. So we have to the more painful it is and hard to get something, the better the reward.
Yeah.
Great, like when you find this great, pilots, the greatest pilots are those that, survive some of the craziest winds and stuff. You'll be like, yeah, this guy, you have to be able to survive because it's survival for the fittest at the end of the day. So like, if you're going to be smashed by one wave and be like, goo, it's never going to work, because at one point, one race was minority, one race was majority. There's a time where like it was like when you were like from the Turkish Empire, it was like the thing. There's a time where like before that it was like Genghis Khan. There was a thing, like it didn't matter if you're American or anything.
Yeah. That
time, if you're not from the Genghis, whatever, these were the guys. You know what I mean? And there was the minority too. You know what I mean? So you have to find a way to actually beat the odds. And like complaining is good. But at the end of the day, before you complain, whatever that happens, just take it as a lesson. You know, if you're in paradise, you'll get anything you want. But here, there's a lot of energies. Everybody have different energies. Yeah. People just came home from home. They have a bad day. You know, some people, they've just watched this stupid news. Everybody's having their own thinking. And you'll be like, hey, excuse me. So the person will be like, man, I don't want to talk to you. You're like, why are you? You know what I mean? So not being offended.
Yeah.
Like if a person hits you with anything, don't be offended. Concentrate on your, you know, sometimes it's going to break you, man. Like I make it sound like it's cool, whatever I'm doing.
No, but I get what he's saying, because you have to stay on course, like with your goal. And I mean, it's like, if you're being like super polite and you're trying to talk to someone and that person's like, piss off, it's like,
you just piss
it doesn't
off.
feel right, but or it doesn't feel nice, but at the end of the day, you still have to keep that goal in mind. You can't just give up and be like, okay, he said no, so I'm going to give up. That doesn't make any sense. You have to be able to be like, okay, it just happened, but still the course is still the same. I'm still trying to get where I need to go.
But this comes from also ourselves, you know. You can't just walk in the mayor's office and be like, I built Hamburg International Comedy. We showcase comedians from international, you know, from all over the place here in Hamburg. Like, oh, so what do you want? Need fire? You know, you can't just walk in. You know what I mean? There's things that you have to work on yourself. Like, there's this thing they call like mental health. This is a huge thing now. People say mental health.
You don't believe in it?
I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you come to Europe, there's a lot of things. As an African, you have to learn to understand. Like, for example, for me, if you tell me a person is depressed, back in the day, it was a thing I laugh at. Because we're like, depression, how? Like, how do you get... Because I'm from Tanzania, like, I'm not a rich family, middle class, whatever, but we never saw such a thing. Like, no matter how bad the situation is, people make fun of you. Like, and, you know, like, you never get depressed. And then I came here in my first winter without talking to anybody. And I'm like, Mom, I'm depressed. And she was dying. She was like, Mom, you became white, my son.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So mental health is like, it's a thing now. It's like people have insecurities out there. And, you know, most people are posting lies, because everybody online is trying to show this is the best side of me. This is the best side of me. And
living my best life.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then people actually, they have like stress out there. You know what I mean? And you'll be like, oh man, this person is, you know, you don't know what's going on. That's why on my Instagram, I don't post much. Like I have to post because, of course, money. But I always don't post much because people have this like, oh, Khalid always have like positive energy. He's very happy, which I am most of the times, but it's not like how it is. Sometimes, man, I got my stuff going on. I'm not funny all the time. I can't just coming out there, hey, what's up? And that's why I don't post content. I can be funny every day and post them, but I can't do it. Like I feel like today I'm gonna wake up, I don't feel like talking to anyone, and I'm gonna stay in bed. I won't do any content, whatever. That, like, just being true to what you feel, developing yourself, killing your insecurities. Just understand, because sometimes if a person call me a nigger, for example, I don't get offended. You know,
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because you call me N-word, right? I'm like, first of all, I'm not from America. I'm from Africa. I am not. So, and I'm like, man, I don't know where you get your information from. But if it makes you feel good, it's coming from your hate, your insecurity, your whatever. You have this picture you have, you know, because the reality is perception. So when you say black person, you have your own perception, and that's what you got. Good for you, fam. But I'm not one of those, you know. And sometimes you have to understand, like I'm walking on the street and you see this street person is like, sure, and he's saying this unrespectful stuff, you know, calling you N-word, and then you feel like you should kick him. Why should I? If I would be in Tanzania and I'm sleeping on the street, right, and I see like a European dude walking looking good, I will call him names, because I'm like, how can you be my country looking good and I'm sleeping on the street? I don't know even, you know what I mean? Like you have to, but before you understand this, you have to actually know yourself. Yeah. If you know, these days, this stupid thing when people be like, oh, people have to accept me. No, we're not going to accept you. We, as a society, we said, no, we're not going to accept you. We're not going to understand you. Don't force us. You know what I mean? But accept yourself. People say, nobody's saying. People think nobody's talking about you. Everything is just you thinking. And then now your thoughts pattern, and then you think. and then you start attracting those thoughts into life. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that I know, they are fat. You know what I mean? But they're the most confident, comfortable. You don't even see it.
Yeah.
Because you realize this is just a housing. So, you know, it's just an housing. If you take me out of this, it's a different person.
Yeah.
We're just given different bodies. These are our tests.
Yeah.
This is our, if for me, I'll be bigger, then I gotta face some other tests. That's the point. If I'll be smaller, I have other tests.
Yeah.
You are the way you are so that you can face and survive in life. That's why you have different sizes. So just people try to accept me. No. We're not going to accept you. What you got to do, understand what is your value in the society. What is your goal in life? Some people are builders. Some people are helpers. If you're a builder, then go build something.
Yeah.
If you're a helper, then help people. People come, no, you're just good. Just as long as you keep yourself in a confident way.
Yeah.
You understand you're just comfortable with yourself. Everybody's going to be comfortable with you because vibes speak louder than words. And then people are going to be accepted.
Yeah.
But don't force it. You don't bring your insecurities to people. No. You know what I mean? People have stupid mindset out there. There's people that have misogynistic mindset. There's people that can't wait to disrespect somebody. Like their work online is to come and degrade people.
Yeah.
This is
Craziness.
So if this gets to you, if it gets in your skin, that's a very good sign from the universe that you have to work on yourself. To the point that you don't have to care. Ask any 70-year-old, like, what is the best advice? They'll tell you, don't care about nothing. Like, don't, like the word they say, don't give a fuck. That's what they'll tell you. Ask your grandpa right now. That's the only thing they'll tell you. Because eventually in life, you realize no matter how beautiful people think they are, you're going to be 50. So if you are skinny, you're going to be fat at the end of the day. If you thought you were like cute, the ass is going to drop. If like handsome, you know, it's just going to be over because this is an housing and it has time to use.
Yeah.
And it dies every day. We call it growth, but you're dying every day. So eventually
Getting closer.
This is just like timely, you know, it's just, we have to build our mindset better. And once you build that and know what you want to do, which is not easy also, you just do everything that you feel like you want to do because the universe is talking to you. And then you'll find what you actually want to do in the long run. And then you just keep doing it. And once you're happy, because you're going to be happy doing it, you're like, I'm comfortable. And you're never going to feel, you know, low.
Yeah.
And then you plan your life. As I said, you finish something before you do it.
Yeah.
Be like, I'm at this age, I'm going to get this, you can do that. But then you let everything happen. You live, they say live in the now. You just let everything happen. You're not in control.
Yeah.
If you get smacked, today you just got smacked.
It just happened.
Tomorrow is another day.
Yeah.
You know, just being able to be receivers and remove that guard like you're protecting something. You gotta fight somebody. No, just remove the guard. Just Blue Sea said, be like water, my friend. Yeah?
True, yeah.
If we push you, you go down, then you stand up, you dissolve. If you know, like you take a shape of anything.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't make you weak. No, water is not weak. You know, water can take shape, but it's not weak. You need it. So you're just being like water, like you really need it. And whatever happens, you can just always take shape. And in this case, it's not going to be easy. But training the mindset that this is here is if I'm going through a hard time, then maybe I finished the circle of life. There's a new circle now. I got to learn something. That's why I feel like I'm not filled. What do I need to know? Like just asking these questions to yourself and just being true. In the long run, you're going to learn that I'm comfortable with myself. And nobody's going to ever disturb you in anything. You're going to be relaxed.
Yeah.
And people can feel this. When you walk in a place, excuse me, sir, I'm from Hamburg International Comedy, and we do this. They're like, yeah, you know, this kid reminds me of the time I was young. You know, you get references like, oh, there's these people be like, oh man, I'm white, but inside I'm black. Because you feel like, man, we get you. You know what I mean? Just things like that. Like just being able to comfortably blend in with everybody. And just being over that stereotype of my color and actually have value and something to say, just inspire or just aspire for something. Just every time you come through is just like, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
And so this might look like, it sounds like theory, but it can be even with friends. You know, you can't wait to see your friend. You just build this value, you become this person, your value is going to be there in a small circle, big circle, anything you're going to do, they're going to see you. But not this outside. It's just, you're going to glow out the way. But that's how, you know, the universe rewards you. You just have to work on yourself And then understand once you do, that's how you survive in the society. And people say, don't listen to society. Of course we're going to listen to the society. There must be society. They must have rules because we are different. There are some rules and norms they're going to put there. It doesn't have to serve everybody, but they're serving the majority. So you can't beat the system though. But how do you make this society, no matter how much it don't work for me, just to blend in, find my way out, and then just move on? Because you don't have to be top. You just have to be comfortable. We all want to be comfortable and happy. And that's it, just enjoying the ride.
Yeah. But where do you start to realize what you just said? Because I think that's just my opinion. There's two things that you have to do in life, I think, is to understand that life in general is not easy. And I know it's like washed up thing to say, or it's just something that you read in every book and manual and hear in every, like, I don't know, what is it called? One of those sessions where people like give you motivation and stuff. But I think it kind of sums it up. It's like life isn't easy and it's never fair. And as soon as you kind of realize that, it makes it a bit easier, I think.
Yeah.
Because if you think that life or everything is supposed to be fair, then you get disappointed a lot.
Every time.
It's like every time you think, yeah, it's fair because I mean, I'm here, so I'm supposed to get that chance. And then you go over there and say, yeah, can I have that? No, you can't. They're like, why? What I'm trying to say is like, when you think that life is supposed to be fair, you expect to get certain things and have certain things and expect certain things not to happen, such as having a boyfriend that doesn't treat you right, or a girlfriend, or getting fired, or I don't know, getting sick, ill, people around you dying. It's just stuff that happens. And as soon as you realize it, I think, then you also have to find ways to maneuver around it as well. Same as the society.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I know life is not easy. I know life is not fair. But then there's places where life isn't fair and where it's a bit more fair. Say, for example, if you grow up in like a war-torn country, you're screwed, basically. But if you're born in Germany, the chances of having a
better life,
and a life that is a bit more fair are a bit higher. So I understand that there's like levels, but either way, on both sides, it's not easy, because then like you have war on that side, and then you get people who come from those countries to Germany and still find ways to be happy.
Yeah.
But then you have people who are born here and they have everything, but they're not happy.
Yeah.
So it sums it up for me. It's like, yeah, it's just not easy in general.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. And the other thing is, in my opinion, to be thankful for what you have. Doesn't mean that you have to just stick to what you have. Be like, okay, I've got a little bit of bread and I've got some water and that's it. And I should never like try to get some champagne or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's how I feel. I feel like appreciative for the little things that I have. Like I have a family that is healthy.
Yeah.
We're okay. No one died or no one got ill through the corona times. We have our jobs, whatever. We have our friendships, relationships. We have our families and whatever. And we have, I don't know, a roof over our heads. We have to eat, enough to eat and to drink and whatever. So when it comes to that, we're quite okay. And then everything else for me is on top. So what we're doing at the moment is on top for me. It's like, it is something that I'm trying to build something out of it. If it doesn't happen, at least I tried.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily need what we're doing at the moment or what I'm doing here to be appreciative of what I already have.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just went
No, because
here and there, but it's like, I think as soon as you start realizing certain things, life gets a bit more easier or less complicated, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
Yeah, that's true. Because, getting back, because you asked me, like, how did I know what I know? Because sometimes it might sound like really theoretical, what I say. But back, because my first, talent was not making people laugh. Like, this is the last. The first thing I was drawing. That's the first thing I was doing when I was young. Like, at 6, I was actually 5. I was drawing, like, very good pictures. I was drawing. That was my talent. And then along the line, I just got bored of drawing. And then music started being a thing. Like now Tanzania, they had this bongo flavor. That's the music in Tanzania.
Yeah.
So it's like flavor of Arabic, but then there's hip hop, there's everything. So you can do anything, but it has to be African.
Yeah.
So it became a thing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in doing this music thing. But there was one studio. And then you go to the studio, they wouldn't record, like for us we just sit there, they wouldn't sit there and they'll bring this kid who couldn't like really do much, but his father like was like in the government. So if you know he becomes famous, you know what I mean? So they were giving him opportunities to record and he can't do much. And I'm like, man, why like are they not even giving this kid another kid who was better? And I figured maybe, it's just the computer he has, a software called Fruit Loops, and the microphone. So I went back home, and my sister came back from Uganda doing studies. So she had a computer. Like, I'm sick and tired of this monitor. And then she put it there. So I took the monitor. I got Fruit Loops. I can't make beat. And my thing was, every time I wake up before I go to school, I'll play with the keys to find how to use this thing. And then I'll go to the studio because they tell us to stay on the side. I'll stay on the side and see how he's using the Fruit Loops and everything. And I would go home and try to figure it out. And then 5 months along the line, I could make my own beats. And now I could start doing my music and then record. So if competitions would come, I would come with my own beats and my own recorded songs, and everybody would be like, damn, this kid, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, if I could figure this out, I mean, it wasn't fair. I mean, I thought I could do better than other people, but they gave this person because of the status. But I figured this out, and people actually appreciate it. And then I'm like, I'm just going to do music. So I kept on doing music, and people were like, you should get signed in a label. And I'm like, I'm just doing school. So I would just record songs, like 14 songs, print on the CDs, and then I would be selling in school. Because mama would send me like, per month, 25 euros, that's 50,000 in Tanzania back in the day. But 50,000 because my sister would be like, if you give him more money, he's just going to be blowing up money. Just give him enough, just enough. And they'll send me that. And that means I have to spend like 10, like that's about, because this is 25 euros, so divide that times 4. You know, that's how I got to spend my money. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is not right. So I would record and CDs and sell them like each CD for 2 euros. And they'll sell out like 500 CDs. Just people just buy it because it's me and I'm in school and they've seen me rap and they just buy it. And then after that, I just stopped doing that. And I figured maybe I should do, because music was making me really arrogant because I'm like, I can produce myself, I can do it. So I said, I don't want to do this. I stopped it and my cousin was like, yo man, you're really funny. You should try to do it. And then I'm in Malaysia at the time, right? And in Malaysia, at the time, that was 2011. Yeah. The only black people that have been to Malaysia are the Nigerians at the time. And at the time, there was this crazy thing like Nigerian scam, online scam. Not even Nigerians doing it. Like the other people doing it, but since like it was Nigerian, so it's everybody.
That's
like
the most famous one.
So they were like Nigerian scam. So every black person in Malaysia, I don't care where you're from, they were calling you Nigerian. You know what I mean? So I'm studying there and I tell my mama, like, let's pay school fees and I have my rental paid, I'll figure out how to make, money. So at the time I never worked anywhere. So I called these restaurants to get part-time jobs, Yeah. So if I would call, they'll be like, yeah, why not? Because I sound different when I talk. And when I pull up and they see me, they're like, no job. So I could never get a job. Like I would get interviews and I pull up, they're saying no job. So at the same time, like they don't even give me an opportunity. They're like, Nigeria? No. And I'm like, no, I'm from Tanzania. And they're like, same.
Nigeria, no.
Yeah. And then so this is happening. My cousin's like, yo man, you're actually funny dude. You can do comedy and stuff. But where are we gonna do comedy? Malaysia, they're like one show at a time. Like it's still like beginning. So I figured, what do we do? So there was an event in university. I get this outfit just to get the attention. I get this outfit and then I get into the event. It was an IT event.
What outfit?
I was having like tuxedo, like I was going to do magic. So I go there and they tell me to go on stage because they wanted entertainment. And I went there and I did like 15 minutes and people were like dying. So like, are you a professional? And I'm like, no, that's my first day.
Nice.
So they were like Miss University. And then they gave me 4 minutes to perform. So I performed there. And this one guy comes to me, he's like, yo, man, you're so funny. We're going to make you famous. So he invites me to one of the shows in the city. So I go to the show. I've been seeing these guys performing, like the scene and stuff. So I get there and I perform with them. I go in my outfit. And everybody's like, who's this kid, man? I pull up. And when I figured we're doing open mics.
Yeah.
And met all these Malaysian comedians. And so, as I was saying, there's levels. You're an open micer, so they bring you, they don't pay you nothing. And then you get a feature spot where you pay like a certain amount, very little to perform. And then when you become headliner, that's when you start getting paid like fairly amount, like 150, whatever, for at a time. So I was doing this open mic thing for like 3-4 months. And I realized like people like, because I would have my costume and people like would really get attention. I would get a lot of laughs. And I'm like, is it the costume or am I actually funny? Because I'm not getting paid. In most cases, I'm the one killing every time. But I was like, maybe it's the costume, outfit, my army stuff. And everybody kept on saying, oh, there's costumes. So I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do it. But then I realized we had one gig with the United Nations, like for wildlife. And then, so this guy took all of us, and then he put me close to headlining. But we were not making money though. It was, a donation event because we were doing for wildlife. Wildlife as if I care, man. Yeah, save the panda bear. Anyway, so we were doing that, and I had to do it for exposure. But then I realized the audience was all a bunch of like rich people, and they spend good money. And I'm like, we entertain these people, and they pay like 80 grand like to just donate. Man, I'm doing something wrong. So I went back and I realized if I go in the city, there's no way I'm gonna compete. So I'm like, I'm in university. There's in college, there's an audience here. People want to perform in colleges. And our college was not allowing like events because people did parties and went nuts. So like no events. So I went there and I tried to tell them like, hey man, I want to create an event. You know what I mean? Called the Comedy Cage, where, I can bring in like famous comedians from Malaysia here.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we're not going to do it. And I'm like, man, first of all, the university says, like, you can help us get jobs when we're applying to get to school. Nobody's helped me. I tried to get a job international office. Y'all didn't give me. And now, I'm trying to do something here in university. I'm not making everybody going crazy. I'm bringing famous people. This is for the university. And you're saying you can't do it? And then they're like, no. So I went to the dean. There was like this guy who was a dean. And he was like, yeah, sounds cool. Tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow? No, I need like at least, 14, 15 days to market. He was like, no, tomorrow or the day after then. Or we're not doing it. So I had to go there and just contact everybody and be like, hey, who want to perform? And most comedians were cool to perform for free because it's university and it's the first show. And then we charge like 5 ringgit, like let's say 5 euros. And then we had tickets sold out in like 2 hours. Sold out.
How many did you sell?
We sold about 300 tickets.
Nice.
And I'm like, okay. So I was like, I'm going to always do my show. Like every semester, I do one show with different of these comedians. So as I'm doing that and these comedians see me do my thing, they're like, hey man, we can get him in the feature gigs. So they started inviting me in feature gigs. And then as I'm doing feature gigs, one guy, I don't know, they saw me and they're like, man, you should come tomorrow. We're working on something. And eventually became a movie, which is called The Men Who Serve the World. It's like award-winning movie in Malaysia. Okay. They just put me in the movie. I was playing supporting main, and I don't even know because I never read the script. Okay. They gave me the script. I'm like, yeah, how much you paying? And when I saw the money, I'm like, I'm doing this. So at the university international office, we're like, no, we can't do that because you're going to be away for a month and a half filming. This is not good for the academic, whatever calendar for a student. You can't do that.
Yeah.
It's not allowed. Plus, you're here as a student. You're not supposed to be working this type of jobs. Your visa doesn't allow that. Then I went to the dean and I'm like, sir, movie. And he's like, let me see the cast. So apparently the cast was one of the biggest casts. And he saw the cast. He's like, boy, you're doing a movie.
That's what the dean said?
Yeah. So I left, I did the movie. And then eventually I did the movie. And then now my name started growing. I started doing big shows in Malaysia. Now I'm going to Singapore. And now when my name grew, the dean died. It's like this guy, his last job was to set up my career and make sure I take off.
That's crazy.
And then he died. So when he died, that time I just finished university. Now in my head, I'm like, I know if I'm going to go back home, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start comedy. I'm going to produce a comedy show. So I go to Tanzania, and that's when I built the Funny Fellas. So it's a Tanzania. There was no, like, comedy was there, but it wasn't really that a thing. So I built the Funny Fellas, and I'm bringing like East African comedians in Tanzania, because Uganda had the industry, Kenya, except Tanzania.
Yeah.
So I would bring these guys in. Yeah. So I was like the guy at the time. So that was like 2014, 15.
Yeah.
So I built that, and then it kind of took off. But then I came to learn, like, producing a show in Tanzania now is super expensive. Like, you need at least $5,000
Okay.
to just put a show, because
What kind of show? Like a comedy show?
yeah, comedy show. Just then, because the thing is, it's big scale. Like, the smallest number you do is 500 people. The show now that are running in Tanzania are doing 2,000 every month. In Kenya, they're doing in Uganda, they're doing like 3,000-4,000 every Thursday. In Kenya, they're doing the same, like 4,000 people every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah.
And like, people are paying like $20, and the tables cost up to 500 euros.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you're gonna set up something, like, you gotta set up something. So I would set up this. We did first, second, third show, and then, you know, comedy became huge in Tanzania. But then I figured, in the long run, now I can't hold, because now I was like, we're going to the level, like, we need bigger comedians, and, you know, to get to, let's say, Kansime is $10,000. Basket Mouth from Nigeria, who is actually bigger than Trevor Noah. People don't know.
I didn't know.
So you have Basket. Okay, now maybe Trevor is big. Basket Mouth, to get him, you gotta pay at least maybe $25,000. You know what I mean? And those are just two. To get another guy, let's say Eric Omondi from Kenya, you gotta pay him $3,000. You know. So normally comedians in Africa don't perform for like 200. No, just people are being paid at least €1,000 to do 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So you're thinking of this, and you're like, I can't do this. So, like, because in Africa, it's like you are already in a condition where, you know, you can consume what you can't produce, and produce what you can't consume.
Yeah.
So if you have an idea, you die with it. You must have money. You know what I mean? Whereas when you come to Europe, idea brings money. You just have an idea first, money will come.
Yeah.
In Africa, you have money first, and then you find an idea. So I figured if I keep dropping $5,000, whatever, and this is like, I just came from uni, I'm just taking this money for like mama, you know, I'm like, Mom, she's like, I can get you to work in any place. I have friends. What you want to do? I'm like, this comedy thing, you know. Mom's like, it's never going to work. We are funny already. It's never going to work. And I'm like, it can. So I try, but then eventually I figured I'm making money, but it was not money. Like, you do the show, because I have this mindset where, like, when I'm doing, because I take this as a business. For me, it's a business, right? It's like customers come first.
Yeah.
If customers are happy, they'll come back. And then after customers, it comes my workers, which is the comedians. If I pay them well, then they'll give what customers want.
Yeah.
And then if these two are working and customers are happy, then I can make money and my shareholders. So I would invest more in paying comedians great and producing a very good show. And sometimes you break even, where like whatever you got is what you made, and then just give back money like, hey, mama, thank you. Did you make any money? No. You just broke even? Yeah. Okay, I give you again. I'd be like, but I want more now, like 3 times. Why? Because I did 500. I want to do 1,000 people now. Can you do that? That's why I want to do it, because we can. Like, pushing. So I figured it's not going to work. So moving again here, like, okay, now I'm moving to Germany, you know, after figuring out, like, I'm in Hong Kong, seeing the news, like the minimum wage is €8 and I'm like 15 people can pay. And then you come here, you realize in the system, there's no such a thing as a freelance artist comedian. No such a thing. It's never been there.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm a freelance artist, right?
Yeah.
Because what is the difference between this guy and a choreographer?
Yeah.
The choreographer has to say, I have a space, and this is the amount of people who can come, and this is how I'm going to make money. And then you got it. So I had to do the same. I have a space. And then this is how much I'm going to spend maybe in marketing. I'm expecting this amount of people.
Yeah.
After expenses, this is what I'm going to make. So once you show these numbers, then they commit you to it. So either you show the same numbers or better numbers. So you move from being an artist to actually a business person, a creator, you know what I mean? And you need the right mindset for it, because once you come into business is a cold world, you know what I mean? Like cold, like super cold. A person is just person is as loyal to you as much as they can feed their stomach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you are in these situations, we come here in Hamburg. I'm studying Hamburg International Comedy. There's a friend who was actually doing some shows here who was German, and I was like trying to support and everything. And when I build mine, and I'm like, bro, I need to share my events. What do I do? He didn't share my events, but he told me exactly where he shares. So I had to scramble to get all this, to get it done, you know. But at the same time, it doesn't work. You know, you had this cash that you had in pocket.
Yeah.
And then I got the rental for my place like for a year. And then now I got to figure out where do I get actually enough money to invest in the show.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't do nothing because my visa, if you're a freelance artist, a comedian, you just do comedy. There's no like, oh man, now I feel like I'm broke. Let me just go and apply for a job. It's not allowed. You're not allowed to do part-time job in the bar. You're supposed to work in what you said you work in here.
Yeah.
So you have two only options, to pick battles or sow weed.
But what do you mean when you say pick battles?
You know, fund bottles. This fund, 25 cents.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like if I gotta make 500 euros, how many 25 8-cent bottles do I have to pick? And how long is it gonna take me?
Yeah.
And I'm like 4 months, and I'm like, there we go. So I
that's
picked
what you meant.
bottles.
I thought
fund.
you said pick battles. Like
You
choose
mean like
your
choose
battles.
fights?
Yeah,
No.
but not actually fight people, but like go to venues and do certain things like, I don't know, comedy competition. Oh,
No.
pick bottles.
Yeah,
Now
I was
got-
picking bottles, my
Sheesh.
friend. Fun bottles.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, summer people are chilling in like at the park. That's the best part. So I'll be dressed nice and I'll go, excuse me, I don't mean to bother y'all, but if you know, I could take the bottles. And they're like, oh, your English is different.
You're smooth about it.
You shouldn't be like, you know, picking up bottles. Why can't you just do another job? And I'm like, actually, I'm going to my job, but I have to do this because I can't really do anything else so far. But after a while, I will. People be like, oh, nice. So be like, this is €5 you can take. You're like, no, man, you know, I'm working, can't be taking €5. They're like, no, take it as a tip. I'm like, okay, thank you. So you're like, now I'm ahead. So 4 months just picking bottles in Shanze, in like Park Shanze Park, Altonia Balcony.
Yeah.
Just picking bottles, man, like picking bottles.
Okay.
And then after that, that's when I had enough to invest in marketing, or I thought I did. And then we put the first show, and the guy told me where to share. I shared. We put in some money. I put in like 150 at this time. And then like we had only 2 people. And then so the venue we had, because that's where the shows were working, they were like, man, this is not gonna work. You guys have to leave. And they kicked us out. So just imagine, you just picked battles for 4 months to do a show that at the end of the day, you're being kicked out. And I'm like, man, we could do great. Because back in the day, I would perform in German comedy shows, but I'm the only one performing in English.
Yeah.
And people are laughing. And I'm like, this English would work, man. Just give me time. It's like, no, man, you're killing my business. So we left like, you just have to humble yourself. So at this point, you'll be like, man, I'm done with this. Maybe I should just go home.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, but this can work because I've performed in German comedy shows and they laugh at my jokes. It's gonna work. So I had like a little left now for, you know, like 300 or some. And then I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to put this in marketing. So we got House 73.
Yeah.
And then we tried to get a place like, hey guys, can we do our shows here? And they're like, yeah, but you take 30% of the door. It's too much. But I'm
That's a
like,
lot.
and I was like, you know what? Yeah, because at the time I need. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, you can. But what you got to do is just give me 3 shows first. So we had to figure out how can we put a show that people can come.
Yeah.
And we say Hamburg International Comedy. No, this came later. We were like English comedy showcase. And then I was like, what if we just say comedy? What do people like here? And then I figured there's pizza shops everywhere. And I'm like, comedy and free pizza. And then that was it. So 30 people came in the first show, and we had like pizza for more than 70 people.
German people love free food.
Yeah, and then people, the best thing about the show is people had a lot of pizza than, you know, because it's like it was double the amount because it was for 70 people. Now we have 30.
Yeah.
Everybody ate. So I think they went back and told their friends, and then when they came back, we had 75. And then another show, 150. Another show like 2. And it never went down after that.
Nice.
And then eventually, House 73 actually telling me all this 30 whatever percent, they understood what I was doing. So sometimes I would have filled show, packed show, everything is right, but still, like I didn't make much. And they'd be like, yeah, we get it. No, whatever you should pay the venue, no, keep it. or whatever, just pay this. And then, they'll keep supporting me. Like every time I feel like, oh man, I don't know. So I have to get a visa. They're like, what do you need? I'm like, I need a contract with the venue. All right. Okay, draft the contract. Let's see it. So I'll draft the contract. They'll be like, yeah, this is great. I'll sign. And then I'll use like this. Because sometimes you have a venue and the venue can't give you a contract. So they were like helping not only just to keep me around doing the shows, but actually to make sure I'm like legally around and everything.
How does it feel when you try to show people something that you're working on and they don't really get it at the beginning, but then at some point, like they did, they're like, okay, we now get what you do. How does it feel when you get to that point?
No, because it's the bet. Because we both bet. Number one, you have to understand that even me, if I have a business and you're coming to me with your ideas, how do I trust you? And have a business, I could have something, I'd take your money. You know what I mean? Like, that's as simple as it is. But once a person sees what you're doing and see the bigger picture, they're like, wait a minute, it's not about the money. Wait, all these shows, we're selling drinks. You know what I mean? Lower the price for him. Let him do his thing. Or sometimes you'll be like, you do events and you're like, man, I just paid a lot and then I need to invest more in the next show. Can I not pay now and give me time to pay? They're like, yeah. You know what I mean? And then you'll be like, these people that they are there as a business, but they're trying to be your partner in a way to make you like just, do what you got to do and just get that. So to the point where we push, we're going now, like we're doing 600 people and you're like, okay, we need a theater where we can start doing 1,000 people. It sounds like, eventually when you look back, you see it's just a series of disappointments and failures and disappointments and failures. But you had to stand up and be like, man, what it is about me that I can put in my power to do.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Whatever anything happens is what do I have in my power that I can do now to change anything. And that's, it makes you learn. And eventually you realize most of us, we really haven't discovered how much capacity as human beings we have. And then once you start learning this, be like, oh, I can figure stuff out. No matter how bad it is, actually, I can. Oh, great. And then eventually you start being humble because you're like, oh, living life is like a game of cracking the code of your brain. Like the purpose of the body is just to carry your brain physically, basically. Like nothing is happening. You just have to, when you maintain here, everything is just smooth.
Yeah.
And then this is the lesson. So you do everything just to keep your brain in a better position. If you're thinking ideas that are coming, you'll be like, no, not those thoughts. Right away, you snap. And it might sound like it's a game, but it's theory, but it's just like tying your shoes. When you start, it's the hardest thing to do. But eventually you tie without even looking. So out of suggestion, you'll be like, every idea, you'll be like, no, this thought is bad. Now, you keep your brain in check.
Yeah.
And eventually you're going to be in a place where you're going to be there and you're going to hear people talking or environment and the brain is going to be like, not your space, leave now. And you'll be like, guys, I got to leave. I just can't talk to these people. I can't hang out here. I just don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
There's information that is coming out and I can't really process it. But at the same time, then you realize success is knowing what you did not know you didn't know. Like there's something you don't know and you don't know that you don't know. And the only way to know is to listen. So sometimes you just got to be like, brain, we're in control. Let's listen. Maybe we might learn something. So eventually after this, you do this for 5 years, 10 years, because you never see this. You're like 20, eventually you're 30, and you're like, oh, that's life. So all the unfair, if they'd be like, we take you back, would you change anything? You're like, no. I would like to be at the same unfair it was. I don't think it's going to be better than that. Like the more unfair it was, actually, it's good for me. So you realize everything has happened because it was supposed to happen in a way to put you where you are today. No matter how bad, no matter how good, it's just to put you there.
Yeah.
And you built for it. Yeah. Like in Quran, because I'm a Muslim, there's a verse they say, La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Like God doesn't give a soul what it cannot bear. Like when you hear no matter what happens to you, you can bear it. The more harder it is, the more stronger you are.
Is like knowing that something that helped you to be as resilient as you are or on top of things? Because that's what I'm hearing. Like you're always on top of things. You don't accept no's or like roadblocks and be like, okay, I'm done. Like you always keep on doing and you find ways.
Yeah.
Same as you did with the dean. So people tell you on one side, no, it's not happening here because we don't do it here. And then you find your way to the dean.
Yeah.
Talk. It's like a lot of people just give up like after the first or second hurdle, and you're like, nah, I'm gonna go this way, or I'm gonna go this way, or I'm gonna try this way. Where did you learn that from? Is that like the verse that you just mentioned from the Quran? Is that something that also helped you?
Yeah.
Or like belief in general?
There's some, like, you know, the Quran has some of the best verses like that I refer to. There's that one. There's another one that says, with hardship comes ease. And then the second verse after that says, verily, with hardship comes
Verily?
with hardship comes ease. It's the same verse. So with hardships comes ease. Verily, with hardship comes ease. So the thing is, when you go through a hardship, once the hardship is gone, there's one side of the ease where you'll be like, oh, it's gone. And then there is another side of the ease. God gives you 2 points where there's relief to whatever the feelings, the overwhelming feelings, to get away this, and then relief to actually move to the next level. So with hardship comes ease. Actually, like with verily is like with precise, like no matter what, with hardship, they're gonna come an actual ease. So the harder it is, the ease coming to you.
Yeah.
That's why you find people like you'd say some, like you say, if you read books like the prophets or whatever, people that are persecuted more, the result later is always huge. You find if a person had to die for something, but then they change, super ease.
Yeah.
So you can interpret it in a different way. That's why people be like, yeah, I'm willing to die for this, because if I die, there's an ease coming. You know what I mean? So if if you're not willing to die for what you're doing, then what's the point of doing it? You know what I mean? So nobody's gonna, find the value of the thing except you. And that's what makes you resilient.
Yeah.
And you realize, man, you're gonna die anyway. So you can either, die happy, or you can just die trying, or you can die just being useless. You know what I mean?
Die being useless.
Yeah, you just, because eventually you'll be like, if I'm gonna, I don't have money now, why should I be stressed? Like if I'm gonna stress now, is it gonna change anything? No. If it's not gonna change anything, the only thing I can change is just how I think. Once I'll be like, it's just now I don't have money. Tomorrow I can get it. But where can I get it? I need to make some calls, do this. You'll be like, so you just, it helps to move when and I can't lie, religion helps for me.
That's very good.
Religion, because I don't vent to people. Some people, like when you have issues, you gotta talk to your best friend. It helps.
It helps, yeah.
It helps. You always gotta talk to people, but I don't like venting to people. Because once you start saying words, they become something. Once you say, I'm afraid this, you know what? Afraid, everything you fear comes in form of people. If you're afraid somebody's going to cheat on you, guess what? The person is going to come and the cheating is going to happen. If you're afraid you're not going to get a job, somebody's going to get that job. Every fear comes in form of a person. So if you vent, you're just putting it out there. You're just broadcasting it.
Yeah.
And then it's going to happen somehow, somewhere. So what I do is I just pray, and I'll be like, God, you're just the creator of everything. I mean, if you're there, you are the creator of, I believe it's there, of course. you are the creator of everything. Now, I don't know anything. I don't know what I can do, but just give me strength, to handle whatever that is coming. And if this, what I'm doing is because of something I've done before, because sometimes you might have said something to a person, you might have hurt a person, you might have, without even knowing, because there's things, when you hurt people, it comes back.
Yeah.
You're going to pay for it. And then you'll be like, if I hurt somebody in the past or whatever I did in the past that has violated my soul, then forgive me for it or make it easy for this person. Just, what do I have to do? Or maybe sometimes that's when you move on to start just doing help. For example, you'd go out there, a person is needing of help, and then you help a person. And you'll be like, whatever I've done that is bad and whatever I'm doing now, may God just somehow put it out there. Like I don't expect anything from you helping a person. Yeah. May God just cleanse my soul. So that's why you just, if it doesn't work naturally, physically, you have to work on your soul. Like either way, like maybe you have been, worrying too much, just being toxic. You haven't even given back to anybody. You've just been taking money for yourself. When did you give back? Yeah. So you've reached at one point, you'll be like, maybe, you know what? The hustle is not working because I never spend my money with anybody in need or even advice. I never called my parents. I never met somebody's day. So you'd call home, hey, mama, how you doing? What do you want? Nothing. Just want to check on you. You have a good day. And that clears some things. You call your brother. You just, either way, like you do good to people, it clears your way. Yeah. So that's the religious side. So eventually, sometimes you just have to lay back and just look at the things the way they are and see what is the power, and then believe there is something out there that is stronger than all this, and this is nothing than just a game. Keep playing, bro. You know what I mean? It's just the only I think just that's the only way eventually you learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the the best thing about life.
Yeah.
Being able to learn the lessons and keep on moving. And that's what creates maturity among people and people that are kids. There are people that are grown but kids. But it's here, that's what defines a person.
Yeah.
And if we can do that, I think we can grow, not only in business, not only in relationships, not only in what we build, but even have a happy life. Because you're never going to be happy. I don't care. Like, you're never going to be happy. You're always going to pursue happiness. You will never be happy. As long as you are on this planet, you have moments of happiness, but you'll never be fully like, oh, I'm happy.
Now, there's going to be people who will listen to what you say, saying that you will never really be happy. And I guess some might ask, so what's the point of trying to achieve or get happiness if you're never going to be happy anyways? What do you think?
Happiness, everybody is going to pursue it. You're not going to have it. You know, happiness is not a destination. It's a journey. Because people be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and when I'm 30, I can do this. And you think that I'm going to do this, be a millionaire, and then I'm going to be happy. People put happiness, they postpone the happiness. You know what I mean?
What do you mean with postpone happiness?
Yeah, because you'll be like, I have to do this. And when I have this, then I'll be happy.
Then finally I'm happy. Oh, yeah.
You know, you'll never be happy. Because you'll never get to the point when you'll be like, oh, I got this. No, it's never going to happen. This life, you're not supposed to be comfortable here. That's not the point of life. You never be comfortable. I don't care how comfortable you are. It's not the point of life. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. That's why you're living, right? So the only way is just being content. It's different. Being content is what we can achieve, what we have to try. Being content that whatever is happening, it's all right. It's supposed to happen. And has nothing, like, it doesn't affect me more, or whatever it is, I'm okay. Yeah. Like, for example, when people speak about poor people in Africa and be like, oh man, you can't be living like this. But, you know, you realize when you grew up, like me, for example, we grew up, we like, in our neighborhood, 2 people had TV. You know, we used to play football without shoes, and you couldn't put me in the shoes. Like, that was a thing, right? We play football without shoes. And it was a thing. Like, you never complain like, oh, we're poor. No, we have food from the farm. Like, we've been eating bananas and cassava and beans. We are full. Like, we're just good. But at the point there, for us, we're like happy. We are content with everything we have. And another person comes, is like, you guys are living under $1. This is not happiness. We're like, no, friend, this is the thing. Yeah. You guys don't know. You know what I mean? So being able to be content and not being, these things are not, and happiness just comes in form of just understanding the way of living. You know, that is not about you. You know, it's not about you. You have to be careful with everybody else. And at the same time, you know, keep yourself in check. Yeah. Yeah, like they say, captain your own ship. You can't captain the waters. You know what I mean? So you keep yourself in check. Make sure you're good, like healthy-wise. The only way you can be content is if your health is good. You work out. Do you have the body you think you have? And what are you doing about it? Do you have the knowledge you think you have? What are you doing about it? If you want something, read about it. That's the only thing. Yeah. You want to be smarter, read about whatever. You want to do business, read about. So the more you fulfill these levels of things you want, it builds confidence, and then you become content. So, and a person you have a bad day. Yeah. But if you're content, it's different.
Yeah, true.
You know, you'll be like, yeah, I survived, but I'm all right. You know, it's going to be all right. What are you doing? Yeah, I mean, I have an annoyed day, but you want to have a drink. You know what I mean? Like, having that contentment, and that's what people miss. Like, once you have contentment, whatever that is happening in life, it's going to be a journey. You'll never be like, achieved happiness. No, you have those moments where you be like, or you feel like, I want to kill myself. But as much as you have this contentment, you feel like, kill myself. No, man, what if, you know, Drake drops a song? I wouldn't hear his song. Yeah. I'm going to leave up for that. You know, just having these small things to keep you going. Yeah. And that's what I think most of us don't understand. You have to enjoy everything you're doing. Yeah. No matter how hard, no matter how it is, just it's supposed to be there. You know, go through it. Like the more you develop a thick skin, the more content you become. The more content you are, the more calm you are.
Yeah.
The more calm you are, the more positive you are. The more positive you are, the more you happen to look happy and be happy because you appreciate everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why they say, man, this guy's always happy. No, he's just contented. He's not really happy. Shit is happening out there. You just don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the only, you know, maybe psychological. I don't know these words, English, man. But that's, I mean, that's
could.
how I think the way you can program, I think, your brain, because you have to do that.
Yeah.
And eventually have, you know, what you say, healthy life. You know, just performing at the highest level of a human being.
Yeah.
You know, in Islam, we believe God says, human being is the best of my creation. He has more than 50,000 different creations, and each creation has like levels. Like for example, dog, that's one creation. There's a Chihuahua, there's a German Shepherd, and then it's a human being is the best of creation. Which means like you know, in the Bible they say God created us in His picture.
Yeah.
Which means we can create, we can judge, we can the best of creation, better than even angels. Because angels don't choose what to do. They do what they're told to do. Human being, you can choose. Every 3 seconds, you make your future change. You'll be like, I'm going to pick the call or I'm not. If you pick the call, you change the course of the future.
Yes.
If you don't, you know, like so you forget knowing that you are here because naturally you have God powers in you to actually create or just keep this life going in a way. And instead of you complaining or whatever the situation, you are at that time, at that point, because that's when you're supposed to be. Because these problems that are there have to change. And you are the witness, either to push the change or whatever, but you have to be there.
Yeah.
That's why you're not born in 1945. You're born now. You have to be here now. So whatever that is, whatever is happening to you now, wake up. You forget to leave because actually it's a mission and it's a game. The difference is we just, God, you are the best creation because this is the difference. In school, you study first and then you then you do an exam.
Yeah.
In reality, you get exam first, then you get answers.
True.
Because that's my best creation. So what do? Give him puzzles. How is he going to figure it out? I told you it's my best creation. So just give puzzles, and you just solve. The better you know yourself, the better you can actually put yourself to work, the more you can solve.
Yeah.
So it's just like that, in simple way.
Makes sense, but it makes sense. Good. It's an interesting way to look at it. You also said something, if I heard you correctly, like being the captain of your own ship, kind of, or like your own life.
Yeah.
Is that like connected to the name that you gave yourself, like Captain Khaled? Is there a connection, or is it just because it sounded good?
It is.
Oh, now it makes more sense.
I'm captain of my own ship, but I let the waters do what they have to do. So it might be like, I'm just the captain of this.
Yeah.
So everything for me, that's why I say everything is a journey, and the journey is in the sea. You never know. It can rain. You can hit the rock.
Yeah.
You might sink. You might need to swim. You don't know, there's too much going on. You just have to captain your own ship.
Yeah.
And that's where captain comes from, yes.
Nice. I didn't know. And it's also like, I feel it's different to get to that answer where your name comes from. It's different than just asking, how did you come about to have that name?
Yeah.
And you just say, oh, this and this and that. But talking about all the things that we just talked about and then be like, oh, that's might be the reason why he's calling himself. Now it's a bit more deeper.
Yeah.
Crazy. yeah, it's mind blowing. That's nice.
But it humbles, It humbles. It really is a humble time to be here because this time we are at the best time of being a human being. Like back in the day, if you go back 5,000 years, this is what a human being has wanted. To being able to be, it's cold outside, but you're inside naked and you don't feel cold. Being able to tell a friend hey man, I want to see you, and just they get it. You know what I mean? Being able to exchange goods without actually exchange, because they used to do barter trade, but actually being able barter trade is you have goods, I have goods, we exchange goods.
Yeah.
But being able to get things, you know what I mean, and keeping what I have. Then the point of me, I don't have to go hunt to get food for the family. You know what I mean? Now we have supermarkets. We ain't gotta kill nobody. You know, people had to get out of it. Now we are at the best of whatever human being has wished for. This is it.
Yeah.
I can go to Africa and back in one day like this. I can see we at the best, like whatever human being ever wished for. This is it. But guess what? We can read, we can write. Human beings back in the day, this was a crazy period, right? And see what we're reading and see what we're writing. Dumbness. You know what I mean? Like nothing, nobody. If we're reading some things that is not helpful. If you're like trying to like, we know like we're not going anywhere with everything that we have. And now we're just entitled. We think things are supposed to be this way. Not knowing people actually burned. People had to get exploited just to be what we are now. But everybody just don't see that. They think like, oh no, we developed. No, you're not. This is. So if human beings would step back and go back to the nature of being the creators, the determinants of the future, you know, and actually apply yourself, because it's never gonna change. Like the questions we have are the same. If you go 5,000 back, there's people who believed in God. There's people who didn't. There's people who say they were like, people are open-minded. There are people that were not. You know, there was arranged marriage. There was like these things. There were slaves. If you go back, it's the same questions, same racism, same everything. It's just we're in a different time in life with the same questions. You know what I mean? Nothing new. We just dressed now, swag, we have Nikes and everything. But if you go back in time, same questions, because everybody's, how do we become happy? That's the same question has been, how do I become comfortable?
Yeah.
How do I get security? Same questions.
Yeah, true.
So now we have everything that we have, but then we are the weakest human being to ever exist.
That's crazy, huh? We got
everything.
We get to the best point of being a human being,
And
but we're still
the
weakest at the same time. Because I spoke to someone about it yesterday, and someone told me that she is able to like shoot animals and skin animals and hunt and do this and this and that. And I was thinking, that's a good skill to have, because if we don't have electricity or internet or whatever, most of us in Germany are screwed.
We're screwed. Yeah.
Like everywhere in the world, I guess, where you don't have to do the things that I just mentioned, but especially in like those, we call them developed countries. Yeah. If we switch the light off and the internet is gone, we are all screwed. We don't know what to do. So it makes sense when you say we're still like, we got the furthest, but we're still now the weakest that we have ever been, kind of.
We can't do anything.
We also live longer, but we're still the weakest. That's crazy.
It's crazy. And the thing is, actually, it might look like we'll live longer, but we're the most unhealthiest human beings because we're not really eating, just eating nothing. Like, for example, people say Africans, like, they have muscle memory, whatever is strong.
Yeah.
But if you look at the African way of eating, all the food is plant-based. If you realize you farm, you eat bananas, beans, cassava, yams, maize, all these things farmed. Chicken and meat, this is luxury. You eat it once, when it's Christmas or when the person visits, that's when you visit the chicken or beef or whatever. But everything is just, the more poor you are, the more plant-based you are. And these people, they're strong, bodies worked, you know what I mean? And then you come here when you eat this McDonald's stuff, all this stuff. So eventually, as we go on now, we've developed, people are dying. Stupid diseases that never existed in human. A person is 15, climb up the stairs. You're 15. Nowadays, 25-year-old, bruv, you gone. Like, like 25-year-olds, they look like they're 40. Yeah. 40-year-old now look like 70. And then, you know what I mean? Like, people, things, we are not healthy. We've tried to simplify, but then we've been too smart that we're dumb. Nobody's questioning. And then later people are like, no, wait a minute. I think I'm a vegetarian. People are like, yes, yeah. You know what I mean? But realizing that all the cultures, the foods we've been eating, forget where you're from, either Chinese, whatever, everything was farmed before. Everything was growing from the land. And now you don't have that. And then, so the brain, you are what you eat, right? Yeah. Because if you're gonna make love at some point, you gotta be full, right? What did you eat before? McDonald's. Then you have burger babies now. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like, if we could be careful with ourselves from food, what you talk. It's very important. What you talk, what you listen. You know, because they say, show me your friends, I can tell you who you are. Because when you talk, you influence each other without knowing. Because, you know, the brain is working, but the unconscious mind is recording. Like now we're talking, I promise you, like this conversation, whatever, is going to come somewhere in your brain.
Yeah.
That's why you can hear the song, but you can't sing it. To hear that, you'll be like, I heard this song, but it goes, you can't sing it. But in your brain, you can hear clearly. That's one proof that wherever you are, you're recording.
True.
So where are you? Person be listening to music all day, every day. And then now stress comes in. Your brain goes to the information it has. A bunch of music. Yes, you're going to break down. You're going to break down because there's nothing the brain can take to use for you. But if you're a person who's been informed, you read books, you're in business, you're reading about business, you're doing music, you learn about music, you're doing art, you're learning about this stuff, whatever it is. When something hits, the brain just goes to look for information like, okay, what can we do? What can we do? And that's when people are like super stressed, they perform things that they didn't believe they can do it. They're like, I don't know. Yo, that information was somewhere.
Your mind goes back to that information.
Yeah. So it's like, how much are you feeding yourself? That's the point of being captain your own ship. Like you have to develop. If a person meets you today, 3 months later, you should be different. Like if we're the same, like you're same today and 3 months later, I mean, you stay the same, same whatever, but you'll be like in a different level of yourself. Like you've learned more, you've known more. Like you've developed 3 months compared to 3 months later. I mean, past 3 months. And you become, at one point, life becomes a gift.
Yeah.
Because now you know it's a challenge of two. You get yourself ready for the tests. So either you're going to have to learn pre-hand or learn the hard way. But the thing what you guaranteed is with no matter what information you have, you don't know how you're going to implement it until the situation comes. You know what I mean? So it's very important. You want to self-defense, go for it. You don't need to punch nobody. Go for it. I mean, discipline for the feelings, go for it.
Yeah.
Once a person comes and calls, hey, what's up, nigga? You're not gonna, you're not gonna be like, ah! It's not there. Because in your head is this information of people retaliating. So when a person says, instead of the brain going to be like, wait a minute, choose, where this feeling is coming from? You're not one. Not from insecurity. Chill. That's him. And you be like, yeah, you're right, brain. You know what I mean? But you don't have that information.
Yeah.
You have information of like, racism, like these killings, all these things. So you have this type of anger, I'm not saying it's fair, but then he comes to you and then you become the next victim.
Makes sense.
You get me? So just sometimes that's what I'm saying. You don't know what's wrong with the other person. I'm not saying you're going to be safe, but just trying to contain yourself as much as you can to perform at the highest level of a human being. Like that's the strongest person.
Yeah.
So always being the strongest, even being quiet makes you stronger. You know what I mean? So these are the things that once we know these, then we can do something that actually, according to the times that we are now, according to how sick the society is or whatever, now you can actually stand out and make a difference despite being anything of your orientation, how you call yourself. But nobody as a society, we're not going to accept you. We're not going to be nice to you unless you can prove it. What's your value? That's why you're going to find people there. Anything. Like in Singapore is a place where it's very, 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 like, people are very conservative. But the biggest comedian is like Kumar, she or he is what you call transgender. And this is a country where no way, you can't be. But this is the biggest. She's booked in the biggest like companies, like even state events.
Yeah. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like she stands out in a place where everybody's complaining about this, not complaining, but they're not really given even a chance. But this is a person that when she comes in or he comes in, but you'll be like, yes, Kumar is in a house. And she's
respected.
Top 10 biggest comedians in Asia among the founders. And this person has been doing this for more than 20, 30 years. So 30 years, when they started, just imagine, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was like a transgender, like almost the first one. Just imagine, how does this person actually now get respect? Do you get my point?
And there was no LGBT movement back then,
No, 30 years, no. So like this, just let the society be the society. The only way you can make a change in anything is changing yourself. It starts with you.
Yeah.
So people expect the society to change for you. No, we're not going to do that. You have to appreciate yourself do the change, society will see it, they'll follow. People here don't want to do anything. People can't wait to follow. People just can't wait to follow.
Makes sense, yeah.
You do something, be like, no, we hate. Oh, she's cool. And then people cannot wait to follow because people need somebody who knows the way.
Yeah.
The moment you seem like you know where you're going, people won't mind following. But if you come, you're like, and the person's like, man, I'm confused too. You're confused too, man. Come on. So everybody's going to have this resilient, like everybody's pushing everybody. You have this, me, my. But then actually it's not the value. You're just bringing yourself and nobody cares about you.
True.
It's just your value. So this is why it's very important. Now we have everything. You know, you have everything. YouTube has books, man. 8 hours. You can listen any book you want for free if it's money. You have anything you want online. If it's mental health, there's this mental, how to handle yourself, whatever, on YouTube. I'm not saying it's easy. Sometimes you gotta find this stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to commit. And you can't say, oh, somebody's having mental health, they're just weak. No, sometimes you don't know what people, put them into that. But you have actually to get to the point where you take the past as a lesson, not a luggage. You know what I mean? You'll be like, whatever happened in the past, maybe it's something I gotta learn. Might learn now, maybe sometime in the future. But whatever it is, gotta move on. Nobody's gonna be fair to you. It's never gonna be fair. It might be worse. The least you can do is just keep moving. So I think that's how I see life.
A good way to look at life, in my opinion. I mean, people have to decide for themselves when they listen to it, but to me it makes sense because it kind of, most of what you just said applies to what I think. So that's why it maybe makes sense to me. But it's a good way of looking at life, I think. But I think we're done for today.
You're done for today.
I would say.
But before you finish, for me, it's very important, like, because the reason actually I even came here, or the reason I'm doing this is like, it's very important for me that we have Hamburg International Comedy. Captain Cali doesn't matter, right? It's not about me. Hamburg International Comedy, like, this is a platform, right? We want to be able to bring everybody of different levels. And we're trying to even make sure that the comedians, everybody's getting paid even better, or the artists that are being featured, because it's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
And the only thing is, we know what we're doing is good. We know it's right. We know it's going to catch up. But we just want, we were doing these things on our own, like you just, but it's the time that we're actually trying to get to the society.
Yeah.
Because this is not for us. We want to be able to bridge the gap between us, people that are internationals, that are here to create, or not only for our Black people, but for everybody. And we want everybody to be part of it.
Yeah.
So when we have like comedians, we try to get everybody from everywhere. Ghana, like, for example, we're doing online events now. We have people from Ghana, Tokyo, Singapore, everywhere. And this is because I believe, I don't know other cities, but Hamburg, I think people are nice, man. And I would like to take this time to thank not only you for giving me this opportunity, but thanking everybody out there that actually supports our shows and making us do what we do and learn the lessons that we are. Yeah. We are not the best, we are not strong. It's just that we just learn every day. And that's the humble way to just put it. We're not better than anybody. It's just, we're fighting just like anybody else. Yeah. It's just that we're just contented. Yeah. We're not the happiest people, but we take the life lessons. We're not the richest people. We're just trying. And that's all that matters, right? You try. Yeah, true. But if we can help, or if I can help, because you thank me for being here or coming here, and I thank you for sharing your story and your views. So, yeah, you're always welcome. Thank you. Always welcome. That's what the platform is here for. And yeah, thank you very much for coming over. Yes, sir. It was a pleasure. But before I let you go, I need to ask you something that you might be able to tell me in a few words. Made in Germany, what does that mean to you? If it does. Quality. Lifeline. Like, because when you say made in Germany, first thing that comes in your head is Mercedes-Benz. The best engine is made here. Yeah. So it's not only quality, but it's only longevity, like how long it can last, and also reliability, and also efficiency. And also paid well.
Nice.
Yeah, when you hear you get paid well. So that's, I think, all in one. But all in all, it's just, this efficiency and quality.
Yeah.
And that's made in Germany.
Nice answer. Yeah, like I said, it was my first interview or my first talk in English. So thank you very much for being the one to do it. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it
And I hope
was.
to see you soon.
Yes, sir.
Captain Caleb.
And I'm
We
out.
out.